Hello everyone and welcome to a new chapter in the course of DBMS. In the previous chapter, we dealt with relational model, and this relational model has two formal languages. One is the relational algebra and the other is the relational calculus. First, let us learn about the relational algebra. I had mentioned in the earlier videos that other than defining the structure of a database and its constraints, any data model must also have a set of operations to manipulate the database. Now, those set of operations for the relational data model is called the relational algebra. These operations help us to retrieve data from the database. Like algebra in mathematics takes numbers as input and gives a number as output, in the same way, relational algebra takes relations as input and gives a relation as output. Some of the concepts of the relational algebra are also used in SQL or the standard query language, which we will be learning in the next chapter. In this video, we will be discussing the unary relational algebra operations. We all know the meaning of unary. It means one or single. In mathematics, unary operation is that operation that works with only one operand or only one input. Similarly, unary relational operations work with only one relation. The first unary relational operation that we are going to discuss is the selection operation. This operation is used to select or retrieve data from a relation that satisfies a particular selection condition. This is the syntax of the selection operation, where sigma is the selection operator. R is the name of the relation, and selection condition is that condition that you have to specify to select or retrieve a particular data from a relation. Let us see a few examples. The first example I have taken here is to select the employee tuples whose department number is 2. So here they are asking us to select from this relation employee all the employees who work in department number 2 or whose department number is 2. So how do we specify this using the selection operator? We use the selection operator sigma, subscript the selection condition, and the relation name. The selection condition over here is a Boolean expression which is of the form attribute name followed by a comparison operator which could be either equal to or less than, greater than, less than equal to, greater than equal to, or not equal to, and then followed by a constant value, or it could also be another attribute name instead of this constant value. Now let us see what would be the resulting relation. As given in the question, we need to select the employees with D number is equal to 2 from the employee relation. So in this relation, we have 2 employees working in department number 2. So therefore, these 2 tuples will be selected. Therefore, this is the resulting relation with tuples that are selected based on the given selection condition. Let us see another example in this selection operation. Select the employee tuples whose department number is 2 and salary is greater than 30,000. In this example, there are 2 conditions that are given. First, the employee must be working in department number 2, and the second condition given is the employee's salary should be greater than 30,000. This relation employee has first name, last name, salary, and D number as its attributes. The given condition in the question is based on these 2 attributes of the employee relation. So based on the given question, we can specify the selection operation as the selection operator sigma followed by the selection condition as a subscript and then followed by the relation name employee. As per the question, there are 2 conditions, that is the employee has to be working in department number 2 and also the salary should be greater than 30,000. Here both the conditions has to be satisfied, so we use the Boolean operator AND. Let us see what would be our resulting relation. From this relation employee, we have 2 employees working in department number 2, and since we have another condition, that is the employees working in department number 2 must have salaries greater than 30,000. Therefore, we also compare their salaries. When compared, the employee with salary greater than 30,000 is selected. Therefore, the tuple that satisfies both the condition is this tuple. Hence, this would be a resulting relation with the tuple that satisfies both the conditions. Moving on to the last example in the selection operation, select the employee tuples who work in department number 3 and with salary greater than 35,000, or those employees who work in department number 2 and with salary greater than 25,000. So here the given conditions are the employees must be working in department number 3 with salaries greater than 35,000, or they must be employees who work in department number 2 with salary greater than 25,000. We can specify the selection operation as sigma, the selection operator, followed by the selection condition in the subscript. So either this condition, that is employees working in department number 3 with salary greater than 35,000, or this condition, that is employees working in department number 2 with salary greater than 25,000. Any of these two conditions has to be satisfied. Therefore, a Boolean operator OR. Let us see what would be the resulting relation. First, let us see if this condition is satisfied. So in this relation employee, we have two employees working in department number 3. We also have to compare their salaries. Again, since the condition is the employees working in department number 3 has to have salary greater than 35,000. So when we compare these two salaries, we have only one tuple that satisfies the given condition. Let us see if the next condition is satisfied. Again, in this relation employee, we have two employees working in department number 2. We again compare their salaries, and since we require salary greater than 25,000, we have only one tuple that satisfies this condition. So from this relation employee, both the conditions are satisfied. These are the two tuples that satisfies the given conditions. Therefore, the resulting relation with the selected tuples. Hope you understood the selection operation. You can see the selection operation as the horizontal partitioning of the table or the relation. That is, it divides the table or the relation horizontally into two sets of tuples. One set of tuples are those tuples that satisfy the given condition and are selected, and the other set of tuples are those tuples that do not satisfy the condition and are not selected. And that is it about the selection operation. Moving on to the next type of unary relational operation, the projection operation or the project operation. As we learned, the selection operation selects the rows or the tuples of the relation, whereas the projection operation selects the columns of a relation. This is the syntax of the projection operation, where pi is the projection operator, followed by the attribute list that you want to display, which is written as subscript, followed by the relation name. Let us see an example. To list the employee's first name, last name, and salary, we can use the projection operation. So we can specify the projection operation as pi, the projection operator, followed by the attribute list, and then followed by the relation name. We need to list out the employee's first name, which is represented as F name in the relation employee, last name represented as L name, and the salary of all the employees. Here there are no conditions to be satisfied, so we display all the tuples under these attributes F name, L name, and salary. In this relation, under F name we have Tom and Amy, under L name we have Ford and Jones, and under salary we have 30,000 and 30,000. So this would be your resulting relation. Also, if I have two rows or two tuples with the exact same values, projection operation removes the duplicate tuples. That is, instead of Amy Jones, if I had Tom Ford over here, then these two tuples would be exactly same. So here the projection operation will remove the duplicate tuple. And that is all about the projection operation. Like we discussed earlier, the selection operation is the horizontal partitioning of the relation or the table, whereas the projection operation is the vertical partitioning of the relation into two sets. One set is a set of columns that has to be displayed, and the other set is a set of columns that has to be discarded or that need not be displayed. Next, we will be learning about the rename operation denoted by the Greek alphabet rho, which is spelled as RHO. Now there may come a situation where we may have to apply several relational algebra operations. In that case, we can write it as one single expression with all the relational algebra operations in that single expression, or we can also divide the single expression by applying one operation at a time, creating intermediate relations. You will understand it better with the help of an example. Here let me take a relation employee with attributes as F name or first name, L name or last name, salary and D number. Now if I want to retrieve the first name and the last name of all the employees working in department number 3, I have to use both the selection and the projection operator. Why do we have to use the selection operator? Because there is a condition that is given where all the employees has to be working in department number 3. And why do we use the projection operation? Because we specifically need only 2 attributes from this relation employee. So therefore we use both the selection and the projection operator. Now I can write that as one single relational algebra expression having both the select and the project operations. This is how I'll write it as one single expression having both the operators. Here first it will select all the employees from this relation working in department number 3, and then it projects or displays the first name and the last name of those employees. So in this relation, there are 2 employees working in department number 3. So those 2 tuples will be selected, and then we have to project or list out the first name and the last name of those 2 employees. Therefore, this will be your result. Now as I mentioned earlier, we can write this single expression in intermediate steps showing the sequence of the relational operations used here or applied here. Let us see how we can split this single relational algebra expression. Since in this single expression, the first operation that we applied is the selection operation, and then we use the projection operation on the result of the selection operation. So when we show it as a sequence of operations, first we mention the selection operation. That is, first the employees with department number 3 has to be selected from this relation. That is the first step, and the temp relation will hold the result of this selection operation. As we saw previously, there are 2 employees working in department number 3. Therefore, these 2 tuples will be selected. Hence, the resulting temp relation would have those 2 tuples that satisfy the given condition. Now, since we require only the first name and last name of all the employees working in department number 3, we use the projection operation. So here we have the projection operator pi followed by the attribute list in the subscript and then followed by the relation name, that is temp. Since this relation has the details of all the employees working in department number 3, we use this relation here. So from this relation temp, we need to project only the first name and the last name, that is Tom Ford and Frank Smith. This relation R stores the result of the projection operation. This shows the sequence of operations. Now if I want my resulting table to have the attribute names as first name and last name instead of F name and L name, then I can write it this way, where the name of the new attributes has to be written along with the relation name. So we get the same result except that the attribute names are changed to first name and last name. We can also use the rename operator row. Let us see the different ways of how we can use this operator. So first we have this form, row subscript S, followed by the attribute names B1, B2 and so on, and then followed by R. Here R is the old relation name or the original relation name. S is the new relation name if you want to give any other name for the relation, and B1, B2 and so on are the new attribute names. This is one form or one way to use the row operator. The other form is row subscript S of relation R. This form is used when we want to change only the relation name and not the attribute names. The next form is row subscript B1, B2 so on of relation R. This form is used when we want to change only the attribute names and not the relation name. So these are the 3 different forms of the rename operation. That is all about the rename operation. With this, we come to the end of this video. In this video, we discussed about the selection operation, the projection operation, and also the rename operation. Hope you have understood all the concepts that we discussed in this video. Thank you.